Hello, bonjour and welcome to your new Bonheur Private Wines video. As you probably know by now if you've been watching our videos, the grape harvest here in the northern hemisphere happens around the month of September, pretty much in every wine producing country or region on this side of Earth. And since we're just around the middle of the month of September, I wanted to give you a little update on how the 2022 vintage is looking so far in the US and here in Europe. Is 2022 going to be that great vintage one to look out for in the future, or a bad one? As you'll hear, this will get us to talk about the challenges that climate change imposes on the wine industry. This is what we know about how are the grapes going, the baby grapes of 2022 so far. Let's dig in. My fellow wine-loving friends, Julien here. Before we get started with the video, there's something that you have to know. This video was made possible by the Bonheur Private Wine Partnership. The reason I work with them is not just because it's been called the most unique wine club in America, might be part of the reason, but because they truly love the wines that they choose, and I do too. You can check them out through the link in the video description, and I'll tell you more about them at the end of this video, but let's get into our video for now. Unlike Europe, that often experiences some great variations with wet and cold conditions some years and hot weather on other vintages, well, the good thing about the west coast of the United States as far as wine is concerned is that vintages are quite consistent year on year. Once you've planted a certain type of grape on a site and experienced the conditions and the resulting wines for a few vintages, you can expect the same circumstances to more or less repeat every 12 months and obtain consistent wines over time as a result. Or at least this was true for a long time, but it seems the effects of climate change are disturbing this status quo, as 2022 is revealing. The West Coast, California in particular, experienced a massive heat wave during the first half of September, with temperatures reaching 115 degrees and over, including in areas that are supposed to be cool climates, like the Russian River Valley of Sonoma, as an example. Heat is not much of a problem when it hits earlier during the growing season, like in June or July or early in August, because then the grapes are still green and very acidic, so they can resist heat very well. But this late into September, while grapes are getting really close to being fully ripe, and massive heat waves can essentially cook them and destroy a lot of the acidity and the fruity freshness inside the berries. This can be particularly damaging for cool climate grapes like Pinot Noir and Chardonnay that are quite fragile, and areas that are focused on those grape varieties. With such high temperatures, grapes might go from a normal 12% alcohol around this season to 14% and above in just a few days, and the resulting wines end up being too hot, a bit flabby, jammy, and not acidic enough. To limit the implication of this heat wave, winemakers essentially have had to anticipate the harvest and go out to pick the grapes early, ASAP, effectively, before they get too cooked. The problem here, one, it's not easy nor ideal to pick grapes when it's this hot for humans and for the grapes, because the grapes are too hot and the pickers suffer. Secondly, when all wineries suddenly rush out wanting to pick grapes at the same time, well, they simply may not be able to find enough pickers, especially in the labor shortage environment all industries are experiencing these days. You get the point. The 22 vintage conditions have been good all along the season, and the wines will probably end up being also pretty good. But that will not happen without a struggle and serious adaptations and really hard work from everyone involved in the production side of the wine industry in the US. All the wine industry is rushing now to make it all happen for 2022 to become a fantastic vintage, but they have to go hard and fast picking those grapes. Just like in the US, it is impossible to know exactly how good a vintage is eventually going to be just as early as when we're picking the grapes as we are doing right now. You have to ferment the juice and make the actual wine before you can really tell more definitely. But let's say that the whole Western Europe has had a very hot and dry weather, very good weather conditions all through this summer. From early June to the end of August, it's been consistently and unusually hot and dry everywhere, from Spain and Portugal to Germany, in France, in Italy, just as similarly good. For all those countries and regions that sometimes experience complicated vintages with impromptu rains or not enough sun to ripen the grapes fully during certain years, well, this 2022 vintage, as a contrast, presented excellent growing conditions, guaranteeing less pressure from fungal diseases and really helpful ripening conditions. The drought might affect the yields and the quantity of wine in some areas, but across the continent, all regions seem pretty confident that quality will be excellent. I was hearing reports the other day from Burgundy, and they're expecting exceptionally good vintage this year as far as they know so far. What they all report, however, are extraordinarily early harvest dates. In Bordeaux, for example, while harvest commonly takes place around mid-September, normally this year it was rather around mid-August. Southern areas, like where I live here in the south of France, in Languedoc or even in Provence, well, harvest started for whites and rosés during the first days of August even, and it's the same everywhere. The Moselle in Germany, Tuscany, Piedmont in Italy, Spain, Portugal, all report harvest dates anticipated by at least 2 or 3 weeks compared to what used to be normal. It's been consistently warmer every single day for months on end, so everything has had to be brought forward harvest-wise. But the weather has been so consistently good and stable, no huge frost waves in spring, no hailstorms, no flooding, so the 2022 vintage is looking very, very promising virtually everywhere here in Europe. After very difficult conditions in many wine countries in 2021, the wine industry really needed such good conditions for 2022. It is looking like we are going to get some exceptional wines coming up very soon. So it's pressure and tension for viticulturalists and winemakers alike all around the northern hemisphere these days because of climate change. But in the end, fingers crossed, we'll all be able to celebrate with a few glasses of excellent 2022 wines very soon. Here is the good news that we've all been waiting for 2022, isn't it? On this final note, I'll leave it here for today, and I will see you soon in this wonderful world of wine. Cheers, santé. As I was telling you, this video was made possible by this wine club called the Bonner Private Wine Partnership. With the Bonner Wine Club, we're releasing weekly wine education videos so you can become an expert and get to know everything that I know about wine. I'm sharing everything. So head over to their channel and subscribe to get your weekly fix of awesome wine content from me, like this one, and even further. We're going deeper with this series. Then, if you want even more access to newer wine videos from me and learn even faster, plus receiving extraordinary wines that we select from all around the world, well, consider becoming a partner of the Bonner Wine Club. Link in the video description. Founded by Will Bonner, the partnership is a small group of wine lovers who have come together to import to the US excellent small batch wines that might otherwise get completely overlooked by large importers. a great opportunity to get access to small batch wines. Right now you can get your hands on 3 rare extreme altitude red wines from Argentina, from some of the purest, highest vineyards in the entire world, way up in the Andes Mountains. No middlemen here, no additive packed supermarket wines, no inflated costs. Make sure to check out the link in the video description to learn more about this exclusive wine club and get more wine videos. But for now, yeah, I'll see you soon in the wonderful world of wine.